Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. In this video, I'm going to attempt to answer a question that I have been asked repeatedly over the years. And admittedly, this is a question that I get from newer collectors, but others may have this question but haven't asked it of me directly, so fingers crossed people can benefit from me attempting to answer this question. It might not be perfect, but we are going to take shot on goal. The question that I've been asked is, what is the best way to store comics in a comic book bin so as to avoid damaging those comics? More specifically, is it better to put comics in a bin where all of the covers are faced in the same direction, or should comics essentially be paired together where two covers are facing one another? So you essentially have multiple pairs of comics that are facing one another in a bin. Is that the right configuration to avoid damaging them? And over the years, I've debated different ways to actually answer that question. The long and short of it, I will tell you, is that it does not matter what direction your comics face in, because direction is not what causes the damage. It's pressure. Pressure is what causes damage. Put another way, overstuffing a comic book bin is what will damage the comics and essentially create spine roll. It is not the direction. But I've thought about, how can I answer this question? Like, over the years, I've noodled different ways, and I've thought about doing an experiment where I take various comics and put them in various configurations and put weights on top of them and wait to see which configuration has the least amount of damage. But I did not think that it was best to waste a lot of comics by trying to damage them. So instead, what I've done is pulled a bin from the 100K collection. The previous owner of the 100K collection stored his comics in lots of different ways. Mostly, he had the two covers facing one another. That seemed to be his preferred method of storage. But as you'll see in just a second, there's a couple of configurations that I found in several boxes, but one specifically that I will show you now. All right, on the table in front of me is a bin that I have pulled from the 100K collection. And as I take the cover off here, you're going to see an assortment of things. There are some comics in the back here that have been bagged and boarded. There's some in the front that have never been bagged and boarded. And then there's also a couple of bundles in here as well. This is a bin that I know was overpacked at one point. I have over the years removed a couple of comics from this bin because a lot of what's back here is actually ROM. So I've pulled a couple of key comics from that run. But this was a bin that at one point was definitely overpacked, but with me removing some comics, it's actually given these comics a little bit of breathing room. But this bin gives me an opportunity to show what can happen when a comic bin is overpacked. And so that's what we're going to try to look at here. I think a lot of these books should be with the covers facing one another. Over the years, I've been in and out of this bin and kind of moved some things around. But generally speaking, you can see it here, especially with the unbagged and boarded comics, that the covers are facing one another. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of these. Let's see if you guys, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it here. I may have to take these out of the plastic, which won't be a big deal, but we'll set that one off to the side because this one was facing that book. We're going to go ahead and pull that one, maybe grab another pair from back here. See what these two books are so you guys can see that. 2 copies of ROM Space Knight issue number 29. So we'll go ahead and look at those. And then let's grab a pair of 2 raw books from the front. And then maybe a bundle. Let's grab a bundle in the middle to see whether this orientation of the books makes a difference. And what you may be able to see with this bundle is 5 copies go in one direction, and on the other side, 5 copies go in a different direction. But we'll go ahead and look at that as well. So set those to the side. I'll move this bin, and then we'll come back and pop open these handful of comics to see what they look like. So let's go ahead and take a look at the raw books that were pulled out and see how they look. Let's see, you should be able to see there is a spine roll down that left side of this book. Yep, you can see that right. Let me see if I can get it right. It's kind of hard to get it on. There you go. Should be able to see it right there. There is a spine roll on this book that runs all the way down. There's of course also a couple of spine ticks because there was no backing board. This was the opposing book, and you can also see, if I can get the light right, there's another spine roll down the side of this book as well from top to bottom. So we'll set those off to the side. Here's a couple of the copies of the ROM Space Knight issue number 29. Take the plastic off, the tape off of that one, get it out of its plastic. And there is also a spine roll there. You should be able to see that spine roll straight down the side. No need to open that one because I'm pretty sure that it's a spine roll on that one as well. Let's set that to the side. Couple of nope. So we have a copy of ROM 68 and 69. Let's go ahead and open this one up to see whether we also have a spine roll there. And yes, there is a spine roll on this comic as well. Pretty noticeable. A lot of spine ticks as well. Potentially this book was not bagged and boarded right away. This has been in this plastic though for, I would imagine, a very long time. But let's go ahead and close this one back up. And then here's the bundle of comics. And my belief here is that these may have been bundled this way by the distributor back in the day. I have found a lot of bundles like this in the 100K collection. And I don't know that the previous owner did that. I'm assuming they came that way. But here's a stack. And I don't know if you can see that. You can see that there's actually a spine roll on the back side of these comics, the ones that were facing in the opposing direction from this stack on top. And you can see there are ample defects on the back side. Spine roll, spine ticks all the way down on those back covers. Let's look at the front covers. Let's see if we can pick something up. Not much of a spine roll. There's some roll there, but not a ton on that one. See if we can pick something up on these. Again, not a whole lot in the way of spine roll on the front cover, but definitely on the back cover as we looked at. Let's flip these over and see what we see. Yep, more spine roll on the back side of these. You can see it down that whole left side. So again, just wanted to kind of illustrate what can happen in various configurations, right? No backing board, no bag, covers facing one another, spine rolls. We have comics that are bagged and boarded, covers facing one another, spine roll. We have some that are bundled together in larger buckets and bundles, if you will. 5 in one direction, 5 in another, spine roll. So hopefully that illustration was helpful, right? Because what I tried to do there was to show that regardless of the configuration, overstuffing a bin will allow for the introduction of defects to your comics. The one configuration that I didn't show is basically all of the comics in the same direction. Part of the reason why I didn't show that is because I actually don't have any books in my personal collection that have been stuffed to the point where defects are being introduced through pressure. Now, with that said, I do believe that even if you have comics all in the same direction, if you stuff the bin with too many comics, there will be defects present. That is my firm belief, that it is pressure and not direction that allows for defects. Now, a lot of folks might be saying, what's the big deal? You can always just press the defects out. That is true. But let's be honest, not every comic is going to be pressed. Not every comic should be or needs to be pressed. Why incur the expense of getting a book pressed if you can avoid that expense by simply not overstuffing the comic book bins? With all of that said, fingers crossed this actually answers the question that people have had about what direction is the right direction. At the end of the day, it does not matter. Do what makes sense for you, but allow room for your comics to breathe. If you enjoyed this video, I want to encourage you to leave a comment behind. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that. And if you want to reach out to me, feel free to do so by leaving a comment behind, or you can reach me on Instagram. Take care.
used to have big city dreams, but that's a small town thing. I thought the big city life was the only way you could be crowned king.